Okay, so today, this afternoon, we get to talk to Karen. Do you say Laos?
Laos. Yes.
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 And
Very good.
what a privilege it is. She is a confidence and communication expert. And she has worked with organizations like Google, NASA, Netflix, those huge houses, right? But her heart of hearts is really about serving women and helping us just diffuse self-doubt. And that doesn't mean that men don't have that too, right? But she has a pretty big vision that we'll talk about a little bit later. Today, she gets to be our guest, and we get to hear from her and her expertise. We've talked about a number of questions, and we're just going to dive right in. So, you will find if you look through her website and her content that she talks about how her journey started when she was really young, six, at a flea market. And she was giving advice to people, which, think about that, at 6 years old is amazing. I was probably at six holding on to my mom's leg and peeking around the corner versus engaging with people, let alone giving them advice. So my question for you, Karen, is what was the defining moment for you throughout your journey where you thought, you know what? Uh, I'm going to go the road of confidence, and this is the platform for me.
It was when I feel like it's hard not to go back to the flea market, right? Because
That's
that
a good
six-year
story.
old me that my dad gave a few dollars to, and let's be honest, I think I just wanted to please him. I didn't really know what I was doing at that moment, but the fact that him saying, "Go have fun, but never pay full price," was this opportunity and invitation that was possible. And that
I
is
love
what
that.
set me out on the course to believe that if I asked, that I could get something different, perhaps. So I think it's important to say that as the foundation of how I grew up with my dad. But at the same
Mm.
time, my mom in the household, growing up in a very traditional home, I'm the last of nine kids. She was a homemaker and very much did what my dad told her. So
Mm.
she
Interesting.
was a woman of incredible power in the community, but my dad wouldn't let her work. And what I learned as a young girl, these confusing messages of on one hand, my dad, like, ask for what you want, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And then my mom's modeling in the home was,
Mm.
you don't have a voice. So fast forward to this moment that now going back to your specific question of that defined me
Yeah.
was when I had been asked by my boss to present something. So I'm in the boardroom, and keep in mind, while I'm going to tell you this story, keep in mind this is the also me that was on all of these big stages and still am. But specifically, I want to say it's not like I was shy and not confident in all areas of my life. So I'm in this boardroom, totally tongue tied. My stomach was in my throat. I couldn't get the words out.
Mm.
And my boss shut down the meeting. It was mortifying. I mean, mortifying. I was so embarrassed. All these people looking at me, not knowing what to say and do. And then afterwards, she pulled me aside and she said, Karen, you didn't trust your gut. You could have just tabled the meeting. And in that moment, I thought of two things. Number one, I could have tabled the meeting. That was an option. And then secondly, why do I keep asking for permission? And the truth is, I didn't agree with what she suggested I present in that format, but I was taught that you don't question your boss. You do
Mm.
what your boss tells you. You're the problem. You figure it out. And then when it really came down to it, I couldn't do it because I didn't agree.
Mm.
So that's what made me go to town in my personal growth work, and including therapy and lots of different ways to explore what was the root of my challenge. And when I realized it was really about certain personalities or archetypes intimidated me, in that case, my boss, I realized I have a choice here. We all have a choice. We all have agency to choose differently.
Mm.
And once I realized that, and through again, a lot of this personal growth work, had the confidence to say, I'm going to do what is best for me, it freed me. I like to say I was in a prison of my own making. And
Mm.
I realized I do not want other women to be in this place. Most of the time, it's due to some level of self doubt. For
Yeah.
me, I didn't doubt my abilities, but I was more concerned about pleasing my boss, pleasing everybody else, and making sure that I didn't rock the boat, that I couldn't get the words out. But at the end of the day, I still failed in that moment for what I thought I was supposed to do. All that to say, that's what led me to my mission, which is to silence self doubt in 10 million women in 10 years. And we're halfway there. So that I set that out in 2020, and 2030 is the goal. And that's going to culminate on the Chase Center stage in San Francisco.
Which is gonna be amazing.
Yes, it
Mhm.
is.
And what a beautiful, beautiful vision that you've created for yourself, right? As
Thank you.
with crafting like what the end experience is. I love that so much. You brought
Thank
up the
you.
boardroom, and I wanted to ask you, when you think about the experience and the experience you had with your boss, and then the reflection, the deep reflection that you moved into afterwards, what shows up still that you utilize in your coaching today from this experience?
Sure. And just to clarify, are you talking about what shows up still for me and my vulnerabilities,
Ooh, beautiful distinction.
or in what
So
I see? Yeah.
let's actually go in both directions with that
Okay.
because I think that's important. So yes, both. Start with you.
Okay. Sure. The thing that shows up all the time is and this I want to say is an interesting distinction between me and I would say a lot of women, is this imposter syndrome of not feeling good enough and that kind of thing. I can relate to that in certain areas, but I generally don't relate as much as most people do to imposter syndrome, because I've always had a lot of confidence in my abilities. In fact, I like to say I was overconfident. I've always been overconfident in my abilities. I'm
Mhm.
the one that raises my hand and says, I can do that, even if I only have 20% of the qualifications. So I'm a little unusual. But the way that I distinguish this is that I had not been confident in my worth.
Mm.
And where that showed up for me, thinking about people who are considering or have already launched their own business, is in my pricing.
Ah,
The
yeah.
wavering, and then this fear of, well, if this person doesn't say yes and they say it's too much, then maybe I need to figure out how I can work with their budget. I mean, even my husband years ago overheard me in a conversation and he goes, why do you keep saying, well, if you tell me your budget, we can figure this out? Or not that there's anything wrong with that if you're scaling appropriately, but the challenge that I had in the past was I would take less because I didn't believe that I was worth it, to be honest. Like, it's even hard to say that out loud in a public forum here,
I
but
so
I do
understand
think that
though.
it's very relatable. Yeah, excuse me. What
Mhm.
did you just say?
I so understand though, because that's we begin to identify that dollar amount with what we perceive somebody else will see as the value versus really considering what it is that we bring to the table and what all of that is worth. I've gone through my own ups and downs as it relates to that. When I launched my business and started focusing on organizations, I decided to start high, knowing that I could have negotiating room. But then when it comes to raising prices, oh boy, does it rear its ugly head again, right? And it's an interesting thing because we can know what our experience is, we can know the value that we bring, and at the end of the day, we're human beings, and most, if not all of us, will contend with some degree of this in our own way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, as it relates to working with people, how does that show up then?
definitely see a lot of people that still doubt their own abilities. And that is the thing that I continue to marvel, especially at people that have a lot of experience. And I think about, on average, my general client age is probably 50, late 40s, early 50s. And I remember specifically one of my clients saying, I feel like a 12-year-old in front of my boss.
Mm.
And I do think that it's important to distinguish how we can be really confident in certain areas, but then there might be a person or a situation that triggers us and we become that little girl again, or whatever it might be. But yeah, and that's the thing that I've seen get in people's way. And so
Mhm.
it's fascinating to me how so much of this is about mindset and what do you
Yeah.
believe to be true about yourself and about the world. And I'm still working on this. I think I'll be working on it till the day that I die.
You and me
We're
both, my
all,
friend.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're always a work in progress.
It's so true. That leads me to this beautiful confidence cocktail that you created. And by the way, I have mine printed out.
Oh,
And first of all, it's beautiful. And
thank
I
you.
love the way you went about this in these areas. The explanation that you have so that you can figure out how you're going to rate yourself is so
Mhm.
beautifully done.
Thank
And
you.
interestingly enough, where I gave myself a 5 has to do with imposter syndrome, which we'll continue to talk about. But this framework itself, like what is it that spoke to you that made you decide this is a little departure from my question, but that made you decide, yeah, this is the methodology I want to use to sort of unearth what, like you talked about, there's different ways that it shows up for us, right? Or we can be really confident over here, but not, I don't have a problem with negotiating. But then when it comes to some of the pre stuff that's in my head related to imposter syndrome, it's a whole different story, right? So
Hmm.
talk to me
Hmm.
about this a little bit.
Well, I was working with a business coach a few years ago that was reminding us in the group that people buy frameworks. And I had never thought about my process as a framework. So his coaching was figure out your framework from a visual perspective. And
Mm,
is it a Venn diagram? Is it this? Is it that? And a wonderful person who still works for me years ago, Danny Hamlet is her name. She came up with this negotiation cocktail, and I thought, oh, that's fun. It was simply a social media post. And then, well, year or two later, when this came up about the framework, I thought, oh my gosh, I love this confidence cocktail idea. I love the idea of confidence in the cocktail. And the funny thing is, I don't even drink much. So for me, it's more of a mocktail. But one of my core values is flair. I have three core values: care, flair, and excellence.
mm,
And I thought that this would be fun. So for me, it was what would be fun, but also help people get a sense, because the cocktail, just for everybody's benefit, the goal here is that if you consider my brand promise to the world, which is to help people become a clear, compelling, and credible communicator. And they do it through these 8 ingredients that lead to that goal. And
mhm,
they're all ingredients related to communication, because over
mhm,
the thousands of people I've coached over the years, I've realized those are truly 8 of the ingredients that are the core components. So that's why I came up with those. And then, of course, courage. I say, of course, like it's obvious to everybody. I know people haven't necessarily seen the cocktail, but to employ these ingredients, such as executive presence, the message. Yes, thank you for the visual. I love it. That, and thinking on your feet, like Deborah, for you, what you just shared. So thinking on your feet is probably my greatest strength.
mm,
But things like identity, even though I thought I was pretty good at that, I continue to realize I'm still reinventing myself. So all of these things intersect, which I love, and courage is at the base. So when I said earlier, of course, what I wanted to say there is that courage is critical, because if you don't have courage, then you're not going to take any action.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
That's the whole goal
And
behind
I love that it's at the base of the glass, courage, by it. Like it's foundational. Plus, you
it.
pick
Yes.
such. I love martini glasses. I'll
Thank you.
drink
Me too.
a mocktail in a martini glass just because it feels so lovely the way you hold it.
I agree. Yes.
So good. Okay, so in practical terms related to people who might be launching a coaching or consulting business, or they're thinking about it, right? Like, you talk about the age group of people that you work with, right? So these are seasoned people. There's something within that body of experience that is valuable that they can utilize to serve the world.
Mm-hmm.
So related to that, what is one thing that you see that actually gets in people's way in terms of how they're perceived out in the world when they're starting like something new?
Their fears for sure.
Mm,
So let's say it goes back to that courage aspect. So the fear, I've found that a major theme is the people pleasing
mm,
combined with the fear of failure. Or what if I try this thing and I look stupid, for example? Or there's so much fear around what other people think of us. So at the end of the day, those both stem from what other people are going to think. And
yeah,
if we could just think about what do we want to do in the world? What is the impact that you want to make?
yeah,
And start there. Start with yourself, start with your connection with God or the universe if you have one, and figure out what is it that you want to
hmm
do in the world? What do you want to be known for?
hmm
And go do it.
hmm
I think
yeah,
too many people, and I think about even many years ago when I was in HR and then I left the corporate world the first time to focus on career coaching, how many people were looking at, oh, what jobs exist? What is in the world already that I could fit into? And I would always tell people, decide first what you want.
yeah,
I think the problem is so many of us are dependent upon a system that exists or the world and seeing things already. And I've been doing a lot of work on my own brand and really looking at what sets me apart. So for each person listening to this, thinking, what is it that sets you apart and what draws you in? There's really no competition because you're the only you in the world. So
yes.
it's a matter of communicating that value to the world.
I
But you got
love
to
that.
get clear on it first. And I think that's
Right.
the bigger problem is that a lot of people don't get clear. And I say that also from somebody that has been through many iterations. Let's try this, let's try that. And there's nothing wrong with experimenting, but at some point you want to land and go for it. And then if it doesn't work, then you can change it.
Yeah. Well, that's you talked about the failure in the boardroom, but that actually is depending upon how you perceive failure, right? It's a beautiful experience that you were able to sort of reconstruct from, which is the value of like falling on our face if and when we do, which most all of us will do at some point in time, right? But
Yes.
to this, I love this. Think about what it is that you want to do, how the impact you want to make, the value you want to bring from the body of your experiences, and move from
Mm-hmm.
that. It's so easy, especially, you talk about going back to the age group. Well, we were raised a certain way, to
Yes.
think a certain way and act a certain way, following the constructs that were set out for us. And we live in a different world today,
Yes.
right? So to allow
Exactly.
ourselves the freedom to think differently, I think, yeah,
Yes.
step number one. Back in 2012, 2013, when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, having my life had been emptied basically. Everybody felt like I should go back in the insurance business, which was a very good career for me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even, like, that was not a possibility for me, right? Like, every fiber of my being was no, there's something in here that I can use to make an impact and somehow pay my bills, right? Like
Exactly.
it went against the grain. People will tell us, right? No, 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 you should do, this or that. And that's something that gets in the way is other people's opinions, right? Okay,
Exactly.
let's step down into some personal reflections. So, in terms of, we talked a little bit today about like the humanness of things, right? And in some areas we're super strong, and others it's opportunity. But there's also good days and average days and not so good days, right? So what do you put into place? What's a practice of yours, weekly or daily, that keeps you grounded and confident and courageous?
Prayer for sure.
Woo!
Yes. For years, I wanted to have a stronger prayer life. And for years, I had a challenge with it. And I remember a coach of mine years ago, a long time ago now, because I thought in my head that, oh, I had to spend an hour every day. And he just invited me with, what if you just said, I'm going to spend 15 minutes or so? And that freed me. And then the next day, I ended up, because of that permission that I gave myself, I did end up spending an hour because I didn't feel this pressure.
Mm.
And now I sometimes it might only be 5 minutes, but I have set up this practice. So, a couple things that I do. I know James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, talks
Great book.
about habit stacking.
Yeah.
And I loved when I heard that, because when I open up my shades in the morning, so again, stacking a habit with that, I did this all year. Of course, I wasn't perfect, but most of the time I did it. When
Good
I
for
opened
you.
up my shades, I'd say, Good morning, Jesus. And then I'd go brush my teeth. And every month, the first of the month, I would have a different scripture verse that I would read as I was brushing my teeth.
Mm.
So now I put those, because they started being sticky notes all over my mirror in my bathroom. It got to be kind of chaotic in
And
there.
then I had this much space
Yeah,
to.
exactly. So this year, starting January 1st, I put the first one into a notebook. So
Mm.
it helps ground me.
Mhm.
And then I have been doing some money mindset work as well, and lighting a candle now. There's a lot of things that I am employing that have helped a lot. But I would
Mm.
say the number one that just grounds me is even just saying, hey, even if I spend 5 minutes in prayer. I also love to sing. So I will often put on music and sing at different parts of the day.
Beautiful. I love that. I'm a great singer in the car.
Aren't we all, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, one sentence mantra that you could offer someone who is seriously thinking about launching their own gig.
I am powerful, beautiful, and courageous.
I'm writing it down.
I have so many mantras, Deborah. I feel like I could say, like,
You should write a mantra book.
I attract opportunity and
Mm,
am open to receiving all the wealth and abundance that is available to me.
I love that too. Okay, your mission to silence self-doubt in 10 million women. So, what does success look like in the next year
Mm.
on the road to that?
Yes. We're at about 4 million reached thus far. And when I say reach, so I also want to say, when I say silent self doubt, what I mean by that is ultimately, I don't want to have anybody that is holding themselves back or paralyzed by doubt to the point where they don't take action. We're all going to
Mhm.
have fear and doubt. It's a matter of making friends with that
Yeah,
and not letting it stop us.
I like that.
So, first, I want to say that to level set this. And how that looks this year is my goal is to reach at least 2 more million, if not three.
Okay.
So, and when I say reach, it's really about media appearances, it's about more awareness, it's about
Audience.
podcasts and yeah,
Mhm.
audience in different audiences that are hearing the message, which is because it's not just hearing the message, but ultimately the message to me would be not just, oh, she wants to silence self-doubt, but that everybody could have a specific tip around how to do this,
Oh,
like
yeah.
how to stop rambling and get to the point, or how to speak up in a meeting. And I do have a lot of resources available for anybody that's interested as well, that are
Beautiful.
available on my
And your
website.
website is,
KarenLaos.com, KarenLaos.com. And the
Yeah.
specific guide that I have now that I recently created is 3 strategies to speak up in meetings.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
And that can include, I also want to say that that might sound like somebody with an actual job in a company, but that could truly be a potential client call. It could be any situation for entrepreneurs, because I know that there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening to this as well as budding entrepreneurs.
Yeah. 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 And there's so often those moments of hesitation related to speaking up, right? But if
Exactly.
it came up for you, it's meant to be voiced.
Yes,
Hmm.
exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Okay. I have this thing called a lightning round. You don't know about this. So there's 4 phrases where you're going to close the phrase. So I'll start it and you finish it with one word. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Confidence is built by,
Yourself.
mm, the fastest way to lose authority is,
Not pausing. That's
that's
not one
evident.
word. Can we do that one over? That's okay.
Well, I like that. I
Or
like
just
that
not
as,
speaking up. I mean,
right?
it's ultimately, yeah. Anyway, I'm overthinking this.
But if you don't take the time to pause in a moment, and then it is a moment that needs a pause, so often we end up in our run-on sentences and right
Yes. The because
unnecessary.
my internal conflict was, do I say pause or filler words?
Ah, Toastmasters.
Yeah,
Filler words are
I remember that.
feed into me back in the day. So good in such a good way. Okay, next one. When self-doubt shows up, I,
Conquer it.
and last one, and I'll post these by the way. Every consultant needs to remember.
You have everything. Oh, it's one word.
You can give a phrase. I'll change the rules right now.
Okay. You have everything you need inside of you.
Mm, beautiful.
Sorry, Deborah, I didn't play by the rules there.
I kind of like rule breakers. I wanted to write this down, even though I'm going to get a transcript. Thank you so much. You know, had this incredible blessing of connecting with you, which came from something you posted and me just intuitively knowing I'm gonna love this woman. And sure enough, in one conversation, that was true. And I love you even more. You have such beautiful energy and such a beautiful heart.
Thank you.
And I love your mission. And I love a world where we have that many women speaking their truth and
Mm-hmm.
stepping into
Mm-hmm.
confidence to build a life that they want, not live a life as a byproduct of what we were taught.
Oh, oh my gosh, that was gold right there.
Mm.
That was gold right there. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Have a
Is that
beautiful
going to be in
weekend,
a
guys.
transcript somewhere,
Yeah,
Deborah? That's
yeah.
amazing.
And that's one of those, don't ask me to repeat it because I have no idea what, like, yeah. Have
Beautiful.
so many good
Thank you,
moments.
Deborah. I feel so blessed to know you and
Oh,
so grateful for this
thank you.
opportunity.
So good to spend time with you.
Likewise.
More to come. Yes.
What?
More to come.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Okay.
Take care.
You too.